All right, welcome to day two of the Looker Bootcamp. Thank you for all being a part of this. Let's jump into it. I will share my screen. All right, here are the slides that I produced the other day. As far as resources go, here's like the list of resources that I recommend you use to learn Looker yourself. I'll talk about them. The first three are the boot camps. I was talking about that yesterday. Um, these are documents produced by Google that are really great training materials. I've had to teach these boot camps in the past. I know Jeff Ruan has had to do so too. Um, for all you guys anxious to learn Looker, I do recommend going through those boot camp slides, just reading it. It's just great learning material for you to understand Looker. Those are the first three tabs. Google has a YouTube channel called Look and Learn, which has these short uh, video tutorials on Looker. There's about 30 of them. This is a really good resource to learn Looker. You can just start at the top and let this run all the way through, and you'll learn a lot about Looker that way. Next are the skills badges. There are three Looker skills badges. These are the equivalent of certifications in Looker. So if you want to get certified in Looker, I recommend you achieve all three of these skills badges. It will take time, but just follow along through, and if you finish these labs, you get credit. It acts like as if it's a certification. So here's another great way to learn Looker skills badges. Another one is my personal LinkedIn profile or LinkedIn. I've been posting pretty consistently um, for the past 4 months. Let me show you. So here are all my posts, and I'm always staying on Looker, but I make a couple posts a week about Looker, and I have quite a lot of posts that I've accumulated, all Looker related. So that's another resource to learn Looker, is just to go through my LinkedIn blog posts. And then lastly, related to the LinkedIn blog posts that I've been creating, a new friend to all of us in ChatGPT. Um, the URL for ChatGPT is called chat.openai.com. And I mean, there's so much you can use for ChatGPT. The big ones that I mentioned, you can use ChatGPT to explain code for you. Let's say you inherit someone else's work, and the first thing you need to do is understand their code. You can easily just copy and paste the code into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to explain it to you, and it's going to do a pretty good job of it. I'll tell you that. It can also write content for you. Don't think I'm writing these Looker blogs myself for LinkedIn. I am using ChatGPT to write that content for me. So that's been a huge benefit with ChatGPT, is me just branching out, trying to become more of a leader in the field, just by raising awareness, especially on LinkedIn, trying to raise awareness for our company. It's really doing a great job of bringing in new talent. I do get reached out for people who want to work at Evident, and that's great. I get to refer them. So yeah, ChatGPT is a great tool. I just learned about it 3 months. It's only been on the market for about 4 or 5 months. Definitely, you know, start using ChatGPT. There's a free version that I recommend you start off with, and there's also a paid version for $20 a month. You get the latest version of ChatGPT, which, according to many, is just night and day better than the free version. So those are all the resources. I recommend you just go through that on your own time. Like I said yesterday, if you don't have that determination to learn Looker on your own, just heads down time and um, you know learn it on your own, then no one's going to be able to help you learn it. Not even these boot camps. You do have to take the time on your own to really learn it. So here are all the resources that I recommend you use. Uh, my first manager was named Charlie Sanders, and he was a great guy, very smart. One of the first days that I was a part of Evident, he taught me this basic rule about all BI tools, in that there's always 4 accretive steps to every BI tool. That's what you see on the left right here. Number 1 is to get data. Number 2 is to wrangle data in the semantic layer. Number 3 is to visualize data. And number 4 is to surface the data. So I have just a matrix going on right here, comparing 3 BI tools. These are the 3 that are most prominent for us at Evident. As a BI engineer, these are the 3 tools that you want to know. And they're all very similar. They all follow the same pattern of these 4 steps, and I outline it in these grids. What makes Looker special on the get data side is that Looker is 100% in database, while the other 2 tools have an import mode where you take the data from the database and you suck it into the BI tools data realm. Then you run reports off of that data. Looker has no such option. Looker is 100% in database, which means never is it going to be holding data inside of its environment. It's always going to be writing SQL queries on the fly to the database. For IT security leadership, that's a really great perk for Looker. Whenever there's data movement, there's security risk. There's risk of that data being stolen. And in today's modern age, there's a philosophy where data should never leave the database. It should never go beyond the database. Just everything should go point to the database and go after the data that way. And that's exactly what Looker does. So, when it comes to IT security professionals, they love Looker for that reason. And then the next step is wrangling data. Data is never clean. Data always needs cleaning. It needs transformation. It needs shaping. Um, you're never going to get perfect data. There's always ways to improve it. And every tool has its own semantic layer. And that's really where the coding comes in any BI tool. In Looker, it's called LookML. In Tableau, it's called Tableau Prep, and then VizQL. And then in Power BI, it's Power Query and DAX. So all these semantic layers are very different, but they do achieve the same objective. They allow you to, write dimensions and measures off of your data to manipulate it, to put, features into it, such as like row level security or drill fields or HTML links. There's tons of options that you can do with the data, but just know that every tool has its own semantic layer, its own coding language. And there's always going to be a need for data preparation. One big recommendation that I have for all of you is that most data cleaning, most data transformation. It's always best to do it as close to the data source as possible. And there's nothing as closer to the data source than doing such work in the database, avoiding the BI tool entirely. And before the data even enters the BI tool, to clean it, to wrangle it, to shape it, do all of that in SQL in the database's native language, and then bring it into the BI tool. A BI tool should only be working with clean data. You don't want to have to transform data to get joins to work and um, just all such dirty nonsense that's just going to create a lot of ambiguity and chaos in your logic in the BI tool. You want nothing but clean logic in your BI tool, simple logic. You want that data already prepped. So um, just to reiterate, it's always closest to the data source is the best place to always do the data cleaning, the data wrangling, and that's what all BI tools say. And they always forget to mention, well, there's nothing closer to the data source than the database itself, and then forgetting to do such work in the BI tool. Why would you want to hold such tech debt in the BI tool when you could do it in the database and not get yourself in trouble by just putting so much logic into the BI tool? You should do that in the database. Number three is visualize the data. Every all tools have its own dashboarding uh, interface. Tableau and Power BI definitely do a lot better job at producing visually appealing dashboards other than Looker. Looker's really gives the basics. It's not pixel perfect like Tableau or Power BI. It's just tile based. Um, yeah, that's the main part of dashboarding or of BI tools is the dashboarding realm, and that's just the third step in all BI tools. The last step is to surface that data once you're finished with the dashboards. Just to release your content out to the business via emails, via dashboard links, via alerts, via embedding it into your own website. There's many ways to surface dashboards across your enterprise, and that's always the fourth step of every BI tool. All right, now just talking about Looker specifically, if you want to really just understand the basic steps of Looker, I outlined it in 8 steps on this slide. The last slide, do the work in the database. All data cleaning, data manipulation, data wrangling, data shaping should be performed in the database. If you do this work in Looker, your dashboards will be slow and heavy. That's because all of that data cleaning, all that data manipulation, all that wrangling that you do in Looker has to be re-executed on the fly every time a dashboard tile renders. So it's going to produce very slow dashboards simply because you're loading the BI tool with tons and tons of logic that has to be executed on the fly. You really need to avoid that. Instead, you should do all of that data cleaning, data wrangling, data shaping in the database, front load all of it, schedule it, make it so that when data enters the BI tool, it's clean, it's fast. There's none of that data cleaning processing that needs to happen on the fly. It's already done once, and it's there ready for all tiles within Looker. Number two is connect to your database by creating a Looker connection. Now, in order to do this, you do need to be a Looker admin. However, we are very free about giving Looker admin rights away to people in order to allow them to do this. So if ever you need to connect to data and you're not a Looker admin, just reach out to me and I will temporarily give you that access so that you can do your job and connect to data. That's basically the first step in Looker, is to connect to data. Next step is to create a Looker project. Everything is held within a Looker project within Looker. All your logic is contained within a project. A project can have multiple connections of that, which is step 2. But after you create a connection, the next step is to create a project. Once you create a project, you're now in the LookML layer, and the first thing you need to do is to connect to tables in your database with Looker view files. That's the 4th step of Looker, is to connect to the tables in your data. Step 4, once you have all of your view files created, you want to bring those view files together in an explore definition, which is basically just the data model that is defined in an explore that makes up the kitchen of Looker. Once you finish the explore, you're now ready to do some dashboarding. Step 6 is to build out visualizations in an explorer. The explorer is the kitchen of Looker. And I've showed it to you yesterday. We'll show it to you again today. But once you're out of the LookML realm, once you created your view files, created your explore definition, then now you're in the explore realm where you're creating tiles for your dashboard. Step number 7 is to combine explore tiles together into a Looker dashboard. All a Looker dashboard is just an accumulation of tiles, and each tile is an explore definition. Lastly, on the realm of surfacing data, you share out your dashboards and your reports and your explorers to clients various ways. You can email them to your clients on a recurrent basis. You can create alerts, whereas if a certain data rule is met inside of a tile, it can shoot off an email to the person that needs to be aware of it. There's all many ways to share out your data in Looker. All right, this slide is very quick. It just has the bootcamp video recordings. So day 1 has an active link on it, and day 2 and 3 do not, but those will be added as soon as the videos are ready. Just for, in the BI engineer space, for any of you, aspiring to be a BI engineer, there's 7 main tools that we use in our practice that, for at Evident, it's segmented into really three areas. The first area, you need to know the hyperscale databases, and there's the big 3. There's 3 hyperscalers that we use for client projects, which is GCP, AWS, and Azure. Each of those hyperscalers has its own cloud database. And as a BI engineer, you're always going to be working with data in a database. That's usually where your work begins in a project, is the data that lands in the database. So you do need to know everything there is to know about databases, as much as you can figure out about databases. That will really help you in your job. So you need to know BigQuery, you need to know Redshift, you need to know Databricks. It's all SQL. They all have their own dialects, but at the end of the day, SQL is SQL. Once you learn one SQL dialect, you've pretty much learned them all. So don't be intimidated by any database. If you have a familiarity with SQL, you should be able to dive right in and figure it out. Next is cloud databases. The really big one is Snowflake. Snowflake is definitely a tool you want to learn. There's definitely more cloud databases coming out. One that I'm working with right now is Teradata Vantage. It's Teradata's version of a cloud database, just like Snowflake. They're very easy to learn. It's a database. A database is a database. So it doesn't take much a learning curve to learn Snowflake. And then lastly are the BI tools. At Evident, we're typically working in three main BI tools: Looker, Power BI, and Tableau. So all in all, these are the seven big tools that you need to know as a BI engineer. For the most part, when you get put on client projects, it's usually going to be you working in one or two of these seven BI tools. When it comes to certifications, I think you really want to fall into this realm of getting certifications in one of these seven platforms. Um, there's definitely more that you can get certifications in, but you know, these are the big seven. All right, let's dive into Looker. I just want to show you guys a dashboard that's actually being worked on right now in Project Phoenix. It's in its iteration phase. It's still being worked on, but just want to introduce you guys, to the process of dashboarding. All of you are more than welcome to join Project Phoenix and get some work under your belt. This is called the utilization report. Utilization is really what percentage of the available time that you have to bill towards a client are you actually billing towards your client. So it's basically your billable hours divided by your total available hours. It's a very important metric you know for all of us. uh, you know at the end of the year when you do get reviewed and you have a meeting with Todd, he's uh he's going to show you your utilization metrics for the year, and that's really going to be a strong basis for your overall performance for that year. So we're building a dashboard entirely around utilization meant for Todd. And I'll just walk you through this dashboard a little bit. So there's quite a lot to this dashboard. It's definitely got quite a few tiles, but Todd likes things very simple. When it comes to dashboards, simple is the best way to go. There's really about five basic visualizations that you would deem simple: the table, the bar chart, the line chart, the pie chart, the KPI tile. Those are really the basic visualizations, and you know, for the most part, you can stay in that realm and just give the basics away, and that really suffices in for data visualization. There's hundreds of different types of data visualizations, but honestly, the top five are the most used, and if you stay within that, you're going to make your clients happy. What you never want to do is to overload your clients with just too much information. You want them to be able to understand the information that you're purveying to them. So sticking to the basic visualizations types, like that you see here, this is a bar chart. Um, Anyone can understand this. They'll be satisfied just with the simple stuff. Um, this chart right here is showing utilization by month for year to date plus 3 months into the future. In the past, there's three metrics being shown. The first one is timesheet utilization. The second one is booking utilization, and then the third one is utilization loss. So within Project Phoenix, there's really two main fact tables, which are your timesheet data and your booking data. Um, Timesheet utilization is off your timesheet data, and then booking utilization is off your booking data. Um, and then the difference between those two metrics is called your utilization loss, which you see in purple. Utilization loss is basically the percentage of utilization that we lost on account of such hours not being billed towards the client. Last year it was estimated that cloud data lost about $1.5 million due to utilization loss. So with Project Phoenix, we do hope to bring light on to everybody about when they are in the process of losing their utilization via a poor timesheet where you fill out your timesheet and you're not billing towards the client. We want to produce dashboards that call that out and send the person an email saying, hey, you're way underutilized for the week. Please play catch up and fix that. In the future, you just see booking utilization. There's no timesheet data in the future. There's only booking data, your future bookings. So there's future utilization. So that's why in the future, you only see one of the colors. You see 3 in the past and 1 in the future. So that's the gist of the utilization report. And then down the line, we'll skip these matrices, but I'm basically just showing those metrics by the key metrics in this data, which are like horizontal. You want to see utilization by horizontal. There's 7 main horizontals within Evident that are deemed billable. And then primary role, all of us have a primary role. Whether you're an analytics engineer, a data engineer, a data architect, whether you're offshore or not, these are all the primary roles that are in our scope. Employee level, each of us has an employee level, whether you're an analyst, a consultant, a senior consultant, a manager, senior principal. There's all sorts of employee levels. There's even more than what there should be just because of new data being combined. There should only be about 7 or 8 employee levels. Onshore, offshore, we have a very strong offshore team. So, we do segment the data by onshore and offshore. By manager, we have tons of managers. This data is really busy, but if you were to just hone in on some data, so right now I just clicked on senior consultant, which will filter all the data to only show senior consultants. That's a really nice feature in Looker. That's called an HTML link, where I just clicked on an attribute value and then it refreshed the dashboard and filtered by that attribute value. Now, when I go to manager, this dashboard isn't so busy because it's only honing on people with senior managers. So these are all the managers in our data with senior managers at the helm. And then lastly, the data is segmented by employee name. So all the employees, you can see everyone's individual utilization. And we got also utilization matrices. This is, like Todd's favorite visualization to look at because it really, shows the data in depth. It's segmented by employee name and then pivoted by month. And then within each cell, you see timesheet utilization, and it's got conditional formatting in it. So the colors will help bring out what the value is in the realm of what its range is. So really high is in blue, really low is in red, about 100% is in green, a little bit less than that is in yellow. So this matrix is really, a good way for Todd to see all the data. So yeah, every attribute value that you see in this data is labeled in blue, and that's because it's got an HTML link underneath it. So you can click on anything, and what it does is it filters on that data that you just clicked. So I just clicked on a horizontal collaboration. It refreshed the dashboard, filters by that horizontal that I selected while keeping all of the other filters intact. That's a really nice feature. Another nice feature is drill fields. So whatever metric that I click on in this dashboard, I can drill into it and check out its ingredients. So I just selected for a single week, and now it's showing me the people that fall into that bucket. So within that specific week that I selected, there's only 4 employees included in it, and we're just showing the ingredients that make up utilization, which are billable timesheet hours, billable booking hours, expected total hours. Those are the 3 base metrics that really make up the utilization metric. So that is called drill fields. Let's show that in the data. I didn't show you the code for that. Let me show you what that looks like in LookML. So one of the measures in this dashboard is called booking utilization rate. The definition is pretty simple. As I said before in yesterday's meeting, every measure, every dimension, you just got to memorize like 3 parameters that you always are going to use. The first one is type. What type of metric or dimension is it? Is it a string? Is it a number? Is it a sum? Is it an average? Is it a count distinct? Number 2 is the SQL. What is the equation for the metric? What field are pointing to? And then lastly is the value format. How do you want the value displayed in dashboards? Do you want it shown as a percent, as a decimal, as US dollars? There's all sorts of formats. And then what I added for drill fields is what you see in this line right here. It's called the drill fields parameter. You just put in all of the fields of which you want to show in the drill field table. There's about 10 of them. So what this means is that anytime booking utilization is shown with this drill field parameter, whenever you were to click on a value in a dashboard, any one of these, it gives you the option to drill, and the fields that you see in this table are the fields defined in this drill field in the exact same order. HTML links that you see in these dashboards, this is pretty easy to do too. It's called the HTML link, where I basically copy this URL right here. I paste it in a notepad, and it's tricky to understand the code. I fully don't understand it, but I just kind of look at it for 20 minutes, and then I can tweak it and get it to work. And this is an HTML ref that um, accounts for every single filter possibility and allows filter values to stick as you were to click on a link value. All of the filters that already existed are still going to exist. All of that logic is buried in this code right here. I'm not going to go too in depth in explaining it, but this is what an HTML link is. That's a really powerful tool. This right here, this is called a parameter. So this is the date filter on the dashboard, and it's full of preset date ranges. So we had the option to just allow the user to pick the min and max date of the date ranges. That would open up the possibility for anything, but we feel like a better option would be to give the business customers the options that the preset options that we think they need to look at. So that's what we did here on this parameter. We gave away all of the options for time ranges. The most common is year to date and year to date plus 3 months. So if I were to click on year to date, right now you see all these future months, but with year to date there is no future, and it's just going to show the past as we as it finishes. So this just shows year to date. We're only looking at the past, so we're only seeing the past metrics. So I'll show you what that looks like in the LookML. That's pretty simple to do. It's a two-step process. The first step is defining a parameter. That's what this is right here, and you define every single possible value of the parameter. So the first one is year to date plus 3 months, all time. You see the same order that it's in here is the same order that it's shown in this table right here. The second part of the parameter is to define a yes/no dimension that then places the date logic of, what exactly does year to date mean? Um, so in this dimension, we go through every single possibility of the parameter, the first one being year to date, and then in the logic, we define exactly what year to date means. And we're using the ago type logic, which is honestly, in my opinion, the best type of date logic that there is. Whereas you have days ago, weeks ago, months ago, quarters ago, years ago. The reason why this is always the best is because 0 always means the current week, the current month, the current year. So it's very easy to navigate in the past and in the future without hard coding dates. Um, you certainly wouldn't want to define year to date as, where date is less than or equal to August 2nd, 2023, because tomorrow that date's going to have to change to August 3rd. And, that's not sound logic, logic that you have to change all the time. That is known as hard coding, and hard coding is really a big no-no in programming in general. You always want to be dynamic with your coding so that as time changes, as values change, the logic doesn't need to change. It moves with the uh, movement of time. So that's a parameter. Yeah, that's really it with this dashboard. There's really not much to it. It's a pretty simple dashboard. It's just got basic those things that I just talked about. This is what's currently being worked on when it comes to dashboarding, in my opinion. Here's how it goes. Um, Here's what I do in the beginning. I try to throw the kitchen sink. I'm asked to build a dashboard. I don't know what exactly they want. I just know it's something built around utilization. So my idea is to throw the kitchen sink and show utilization by all of the dimensions, everything that I think could be value add. Now, not everything is value add. Um, Usually when the customer receives these kitchen sink dashboards loaded with tons of information, they get excited because they surely see things that they find value, but they definitely find things that aren't valuable. And it's time to reduce the dashboard to only show what the customer really wants. So, um, you know, when I try to dashboard, I throw a lot out there, and then it gets reduced down to only the bare essentials of what's really needed. And right now we're in the middle of that process. We're basically like on the third iteration of back and forth between Jonathan and I, where he's giving me recommendations, and then I'm executing those recommendations, and then I'm showing it to him, and he's coming back with more recommendations. So it's an iterative process. You really need feedback from the client or from any customer to really produce a finalized dashboard. In my experience, when you're not getting that feedback, if you produce a dashboard and they're just like, "Oh, great, thank you, that's good, we're all set," um, the honest truth is they just don't care about it. Um, and they're probably not going to use it very often. If you get all that feedback and it's everyone's really paying attention to it, that means it's probably a very important dashboard, which will be used highly in the future. So you really need that feedback from the client. Really hope for that feedback. Um, Sometimes you don't get it, and it's okay if you don't. But uh, yeah. So yeah, that's just a basic dashboard that's being built right now. Um, some more things I want to talk to you about in the LookML. I didn't mention what Looker does with dates. Um, I told you yesterday that for the most part, LookML for a view file, dimensions and measures are created. Um, that's broadly true, but there's also a little bit more to that. For instance, for dates, Looker automatically creates dimension groups. This is a really nice feature. So like for this field, it's just a date field, and Looker automatically builds a hierarchy for you around that date, where you have the option to choose by year, by quarter, by month, by week. You have all those options, and that really comes out of the box of Looker for you. Um, when it comes to like creating a new view in Looker, the good news is that you don't really have to produce all of that basic code on your own from scratch. Let me show you what happens when you create a view from a table. So this is what you do whenever you got data in your database and you want to bring it into your Looker project. Now it's connecting to the data in BigQuery, and I'll just click on a random one. I'll create it and then delete it later. What am I creating? I'm creating Analytics Skills Profile Certification 1. So I connected to a table in the database, and what do you know? Looker creates all the LookML for you. So if you guys were thinking you had to create all that LookML from scratch, you don't. You get to work off of the template that Looker creates for you, where it defines, it knows whether each table or each field is a dimension or a measure. It actually defines everything as a dimension originally, even if it's a measure. Everything gets a dimension, get built off of a dimension. It's a two-part process of the measure. Like as you see here, this measure is defined by achievement years ago, and a year's achievement years ago is first defined as a dimension. So when it comes to bringing in new tables into the database, uh, that's how you do it. You just go to this plus icon, create view from table. Um, there's also some nuances what you want to do, like in the SQL table name, you want to get rid of the environment reference. So this is the dev reference. You just want to have the data set and then the table. That way, when you move from dev to prod, it's gonna uh, change environments based on the environment that it's in on the fly. That way, you're not hard coding the environment name in the code. Did a question come up? No. Let me delete this. Now, for all of you looking to, learn Looker, the best place to learn, which isn't going to be everything, but is to just learn the dashboarding realm. And I can show you what you can do just on your own to start dashboarding in Phoenix on your own. First off, go into your own folder. You'll go to folders, go to my folder, click new, create a new dashboard. Give it a name. And then next step, connect to an Explorer. Um, the best Explorer to work off of in Phoenix is called Single Employee Dashboard. This data model has pretty much everything about all the Project Phoenix data into one data model. So here's the dev version. So if you want to learn Looker through Project Phoenix, create your own blank dashboard, which I have right here. Get into the Single Employee Dashboard Explorer, which is right here. You see on the left, these are all the tables that make up the data model. And then you can click into any table and you can see all of the dimensions. And this is the fact table, so you see all of the measures as well. Just remember the fact table holds all the measures. That's pretty constant. And I recommend you just, do some dashboarding on your own. You can make up whatever you want, but this is the kitchen of Looker, the Explore realm. It's just point and click. So I just clicked on date, month, and it dragged it into the data pane. Let's click on a metric, billable forecast hours. So the first step in building a visualization tile is building the underlying table that makes up the visualization. So for instance, if I want to show a time series plot of billable forecast hours by month, here are the ingredients to that visualization. I need a month as a dimension, and I need billable forecast hours as a measure. So when I put both of those fields in, what Looker does is it will aggregate the data by every unique combination of every dimension attribute value in the data. So right now I have a single dimension in this results. So it's going to aggregate and show only the unique months. Even though in the raw data, there's multiple rows for the month of October or August, it's only going to show a single value for it. That's how most tables operate in all BI tools. It always aggregates by the unique combination of dimensions. If I were to put a second dimension in here, it's going to aggregate by the unique combination of each of these two fields. So now there are over 500 rows. It's this data is now unique by these two fields. So Looker always aggregates by the dimensions. Once you create the underlying table that you want your visualization to be fed off of, then you create the visualization, and that's the second pane right here. So, for anything over time, a line chart is usually the best option. This is, billable hours by time. This is exactly what I want. I could also change it to, say a bar chart that looks just the same. There's all sorts of options. At the top, you see all the basic options: table, bar chart, scatter plot, line chart, area chart, pie chart, map, and a KPI. those are the basics, and then you got tons more in this 3-dot drop down. You see all of these, more advanced visualizations that certainly don't get used as often. And then you can even go on the marketplace right here to download even more visuals if you don't even see it as one of these options. So you can, build pretty much any visual in Looker. Once you create the visual that you want to move to a dashboard, then you save the look to a dashboard. So if you want to just save this on its own, that's called a look. That's just like a single tile. You can save things as a look, but I like to save things to dashboards, and that's what I'll do right now. Save to an existing dashboard. So let's go to the dashboard that I just created, called it Danny's Exploration Phoenix Dashboard. So now when I go to this dashboard and refresh it, you see the tile that I just added to it right there. I can go ahead and add another tile. Let's just add a KPI tile. Here's total billable forecast hours over the entire span of time. That's a nice KPI to put at the very top. Let's add that to the existing dashboard. Refresh again. And now our dashboard is starting to take shape. We got 2 tiles already added. In order to edit the dashboard, you just click on these 3 dots and click Edit Dashboard. And then you can arrange the tiles how you please. You can minimize them. You can maximize them. You can do whatever you want. So that's the basic of dashboarding. All a dashboard is just multiple tiles put together. You can add filters to the entire dashboard. That's why right here. So like, let's say we want to add a filter based around employees, employee level. Save that. So now we got an employee level filter. We can hone in on analysts, click update. And now this dashboard is just going to show the data for analysts. So that's how a basic filter works. You can also just add basic text. So if you want to add like a title, you can add it like that. And there's a lot of HTML commands that you can put into that. But that's just like a basic, text box that you can add. That's really the gist of dashboarding and Looker. So for you, for your own learning purposes, I recommend you do exactly what I just did. Create your own dashboard, save it in your own personal folder. That's what this is right here. Connect to the single employee dashboard. This data model really holds everything related in Project Phoenix, all the data. And just start, building on your own. Just start, clicking on fields, putting tables together, putting visualizations together, gathering more and more and putting it into a single visualization, and just come up with something on your own. That will just be a great exercise for you to learn Looker. I've already asked a couple of you guys to do that. So feel free to do that on your own in order for you to learn Looker. At least it will allow you to learn, the dashboarding phase of Looker. And then, the harder part will be learning the LookML of Looker. And for that, you just got to give yourself time. That's not going to happen overnight. But yeah, that's what I recommend you guys do. So we only have 3 minutes. Do we have any questions?
Yes. Hey, Danny, thank you for taking the time. I do have a quick question because I know there's a difference between Looker and also Snowflake. Which one would you say is kind of more the focal point to initially start out learning?
Well, they're very different tools. You know, Snowflake is a database, and Looker is a BI tool.
Okay.
Um, I don't know which one you need to learn. I mean, you certainly want to learn both,
Mhm.
but you know, both are very important to learn. You know, if you're learning Snowflake, that means you're learning a database, and that's going to really help you understand any other database.
Okay.
But you also need to learn Looker. So, you know, that one slide I showed you, the 7 main tools, you know, you really want to learn all of them.
Mhm.
So definitely go for that. I would say, you know, learning the BI tool would probably be easier for you. You know, if you're going to be learning Snowflake, you're basically going to be working in a lot of SQL. Um, so that's going to be great experience for you. You know, so you certainly want to learn both. I don't know which one you need to learn first, but I'd say the easiest one to learn would be Looker.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Catherine.
And then another quick question I had was within the LookML, if you're making an edit within a view file, and then in the model of Looker ML, within the explore of the view that the change that you made in a view, would that carry over in that explore within the model, or do you also have to make that change within the explore part of the model?
Yeah, it will carry over. Looker is backed up by Git, which is great because when you're ever you know, manipulating the LookML, you're actually doing it in your own personal branch. So you're in a world where you're not nobody else can see the work that you're doing. And as long as you're refreshing your browser, you know, any change you make in the LookML, you just refresh your browser in the Explore pane, and all of those changes will show up in the Explorer. So when you make changes to LookML, you don't have to make them to the Explorer; they will automatically carry through. And you know, with Git, when you're working, you're in your own personal realm. You're not going to be affecting anybody's work. But when you are finalized with your work, you just need to promote your work to production, and then it'll get to the point where everybody can see such work that you did.
Got it. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, that it's 9 o'clock. Time's up. We have one more session tomorrow morning. I hope to see you guys there. Thank you for being a part of this. Have a nice rest of your day. Take care. Go ahead. Are you enough?
Yeah, thank you, Danny. So regarding the looker blocks, I think actually I'm also looker developer. So giving some predetermined information regarding the looker blocks would be like, so actually I have a little bit confusion how we incorporate looker blocks into our existing dash like model file.
Yeah, a looker block is like a canned solution. So if you connect to certain looker blocks, it's basically uh, you know, already has the visualizations built for you and everything. There's, you know, like a Google Cloud Spend block where, you know, you take in the standardized, you know, GCP billing data, and Looker will produce dashboards around it. You know, very, very cool tool, you know, when it comes to working with standardized data that, you know, all databases have, such as like billing. It's really, you know, Looker blocks do a great thing by, you know, already building the solution for you. Yeah, those you just download off of the marketplace. Um, yeah, those are a looker block is pretty much a pre-canned solution for you, which
Okay.
doesn't
Yeah,
really involve in much work.
yeah, like a templated models.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, cool. Thanks.
Alrighty. Well, everyone have a good rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.